So you're an Android user. You've got a Fitbit on your wrist, and you know the feeling. You crushed your step goal, you got a solid 8 hours of sleep, but according to your phone, none of it ever happened. It's an incredibly common problem, and yeah, it's super frustrating. But don't worry, we're gonna get this fixed and get your data flowing again.
Ah yes, this thing. The endless, spinning, sync-pending circle of doom. It honestly feels like your watch and your phone are in a fight, giving each other the silent treatment, and your health data is just stuck in the middle. But hey, you are not alone, and there are some very real, very specific reasons why this happens.
Okay, before we dive into the fixes, let's just quickly diagnose what's going on. We can call it the silent wrist problem. It tends to show up in a few key ways, and I'm betting you're nodding your head to at least one of these right now.
So beyond that dreaded sync loop, maybe you're missing calls and texts on your wrist, which is, let's be honest, a huge reason to even have one of these. Or maybe you look at your health data and see these weird gaps, making your heart rate graph look like Swiss cheese. Sometimes your phone acts like your Fitbit is completely invisible. And to top it all off, that recent mandatory move to Google accounts has added a whole other layer of what is going on for a lot of people.
All right, so why? Why does this keep happening? Well, it's not just one simple bug. It's actually a fundamental conflict in how your Fitbit wants to talk versus how your Android phone wants to listen. And to get to the bottom of it, we first have to understand the tech that's making or breaking that connection.
Here is the absolute key to this whole thing. Your Fitbit does not connect to your phone like your Bluetooth headphones do. Nope. It uses something called Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE. Now, instead of a constant, power-hungry stream of data, it just sends these tiny, efficient little packets of info every now and then. It's a great idea for saving battery life, but that very feature, that's exactly what gets it into so much trouble with Android.
And this chart right here, this really shows you the core of the problem. Your headphones use classic Bluetooth. It's a continuous active stream. Android sees that and says, okay, you're busy, I'll keep you running. But then it sees your Fitbit's BLE connection with its little intermittent pings of data, and it thinks, this app looks like it's just kind of loafing around in the background. And what does Android love to do with apps it thinks are lazy? It shuts them down. And that brings us to the main villain of our story, the Android battery trap. See, to get you that amazing all-day battery life, Android has these really aggressive power-saving modes that are constantly hunting for background apps it thinks you aren't using. And that invisible handshake from your Fitbit, it's a prime target. Your phone is literally putting the sync process to sleep just to save a tiny little sliver of power.
This whole syncing struggle has been an evolution. Some of you might even remember the old days with the little USB dongles you had to plug into your computer. Then, things got better with Bluetooth LE. But the most recent plot twist, the Google acquisition and that mandatory switch to Google accounts, well, that's added a whole new set of potential hiccups that can break that delicate connection.
Okay, we know why it's broken. Now let's actually fix it. We're going to start with what I call your 5-minute first aid. These are 5 super quick, painless steps that honestly solve the problem for the vast majority of people out there. All right, step 1, the classic toggle. Just turn your phone's Bluetooth off. Count to 10, turn it back on. Simple. Number 2 is the app flush. You go into your phone settings, find the Fitbit app, hit force stop, and then clear cache. This just gets rid of any corrupted temporary files. Still no good? Try number 3, the manual override. Just open the app and pull down to trigger a sync now. For number 4, we have the universal tech support answer for everything. Just restart it all, your Fitbit and your phone. And finally, number 5, the one we all forget. Pop over to the Play Store and make sure your app is actually up to date.
So you tried all 5 of those quick fixes and still nothing. Okay, don't panic. It's time to roll up our sleeves and perform a little advanced system surgery. We're going straight for the root cause we talked about earlier, Android's overeager battery optimization.
Here's the most important part. We have to explicitly tell your Android phone, hey, leave the Fitbit app alone. By default, the app's battery setting is optimized. That's basically giving Android permission to shut it down whenever it wants. We need to change that. We're going to create a special exception just for Fitbit, giving it a VIP pass to run whenever it needs to. Now, the only tricky part is that every phone brand loves to hide this setting in a slightly different place. But here are the paths for the big 2. On a Google Pixel, you're looking for app battery usage. On a Samsung, it's just under battery. Whatever phone you have, dig into your settings, find the Fitbit app, and change its battery setting from optimized to unrestricted. I'm telling you, this is the single most powerful fix for these stubborn sync problems.
Still no luck? Wow. Okay, it's time for the nuclear option. This will wipe the connection completely clean and start fresh. But listen, the order you do this in is absolutely critical. First, go into your phone's Bluetooth settings and forget your Fitbit. Step 2, completely uninstall the app. Step 3, restart your phone. And only then, Step 4, do you reinstall the app from the Play Store and set up your Fitbit like it's brand new. This whole process just deletes any deep-seated corrupted connection data that might be causing all this trouble.
Okay, so what happens if you've done all of that? The quick fixes, the deep surgery, even the nuclear option, and it's still not working? Well, at this point, we have to consider a small but real possibility that the problem isn't your phone at all. It might be your Fitbit's hardware.
Here's the definitive test. Grab another device. It could be a tablet, your partner's phone, anything. Try to set up your Fitbit on that new device. Now, if it connects and syncs perfectly, then great news. Your Fitbit hardware is fine, and the problem is definitely hiding somewhere in your phone settings. But if it fails to connect to anything, if no device can see it, that's a pretty clear sign that you might be dealing with a hardware issue like a failing Bluetooth antenna inside the watch itself.
So after all this troubleshooting, where does that leave us? Well, the truth is, the relationship between Fitbit and Android is at a really interesting turning point, especially since Google bought the company. So let's talk about the prognosis for the future of sync.
You know, this quote from Fitbit's co-founder, James Park, really gets to the heart of it all. The original goal was frictionless health tracking. And the great irony is that for so many of us on Android right now, the friction isn't in the tracking. The watch does that beautifully. The friction is all in the syncing. It's this gap between the original vision and the reality of how our phones work.
Ultimately, you've got this incredible device on your wrist that's capturing the entire story of your health every single day. With these fixes, hopefully your phone is finally ready to listen to that story. But the bigger question for the future is, are Google and Fitbit going to work together to make this connection truly seamless so you never have to play tech support for your own health data ever again?